but I just wanted to come on today. I know I posted a while back that I had some tips and strategies to help the parents, guardians, and even some educators out, being how to stay innovative, homeschooling our precious commodity, which is our children. So many of you don't know, some of you do, that I used to be a classroom teacher. I taught from kindergarten all the way up to community college. And I did it for like 15, 16 years, so much so that people thought I was a true veteran of our 30 plus years. And that is because I hung around the veterans. I learned from the veterans. I went through the training, as a substitute teacher that vetted me into a long-term substitute teaching position that eventually led into, me teaching workforce education, college, and then traditional college, uh, face-to-face, hybrid, online, you name it, I've done it. And I also have a master's degree in education and instructional technology. So I just wanted to come on today briefly so I can do the live as I promised, to provide you some tips and strategies that was very effective for me when I was a teacher. Yes, I was a hard instructor, but my goal was to make my students independent, not dependent. For instance, our sons that we raised, we introduced them to online learning a while ago. I think when they were in middle school. Our youngest was in middle school. Our oldest was just entering in high school. We utilized Florida Virtual Online to take additional classes to get ahead. My oldest son graduated early. And then I also use that platform as a teacher to help those students who were behind 2 to 3 grades, along with them taking their traditional coursework. So that may be something, parents, you may want to look into, that if your child is not performing on the grade level academically, that they can look and see if they can talk with the guidance counselor to see if you can do online virtual enrollment, where they still do their traditional coursework in the classroom and access Florida virtual schools. At that time, it was just strictly for the state of Florida. Now, Florida Virtual Schools is open for anyone around the globe, but I think it's a fee if you live outside of Florida. I'm not sure. The former president of Florida Virtual, she's no longer there, which was Julie Young, and me and her became very acquainted and embarked in really me learning and understanding the platform. So if you have a child that's very young at age, Florida Virtual can start as early as elementary school to get them used to doing homework and classes online. That will be an amazing nugget. So that's flvs.org, I think, that you can check out for Florida Virtual Schools to help your child, that if they are behind 2 to 3 grades, to help them catch up while they're home doing the virtual online learning. I highly recommend it. So by the time this epidemic is over with, they can be either on track on their grade level or ahead of their grade level to graduate early. There are opportunities for those that's students who are special needs students. They do have special education track. They also have an accelerated track where you can finish an entire 9 weeks, probably in 18, as soon as you, based on their capacity to finish, or they can take the whole entire 9 weeks as the traditional school year. So that's my first tip for parents today, is to look into online learning to help your students either get ahead or catch up to graduate early. Next thing is you need to develop a ritual and routines and rules in the house. You don't have to have a whole list. You don't have to have a diary. Just keep it simple. 5 rules. One book I highly recommend by Henry Wong is The First Day of School. He has some cool ways and manipulatives and tricks to be able to implement, institute it. Just keep it simple. Talk when, given permission to talk, respect others as you choose to be respected. Make sure they're cleaning up behind themselves. Make sure that they being able to articulate or repeat back to you or understand why they were disciplined for something that you caught them doing and you was disciplining them. When students understand the why and the mistakes that they have made, then they will make smarter choices in the future. But if you don't explain to them, that's where you constantly have to repeat. You have to repeat. You have to repeat. But take the time and explain it to them, give them examples if need be, use things that they're accustomed to, some of the cartoon characters, some of the movies that they like to watch, of why you self-correcting the behavior. And then mindful meditation. I always play instrumental music in my classrooms, real down low, some with a little beat, because some students, they like to move, especially if they're very hyper, they can't stay still, they can't focus. Music helps with that focus for them, so they can be able to finish the task. I also had a teacher toolbox where they did very well. I filled it up with all type of toys and stuff that they can. I was spinning almost like a bingo bin, and they would draw and pull out a prize. And the prizes would be things to help them achieve and reach their academic goals. Not something, the toys that they already have, something that valuable that they can use. Possibly this is a good time to introduce some of the old school tools that some of us grew up with that they're not familiar to, and then you can turn into a history lesson to educate them at the same time. The next thing is with mindful meditation, essential oils have a diffuser, and they have different scents that you can have going on while you're doing the classroom learning time to help calm them down if they're very hyperactive, or if they're very, complacent or procrastinate, and you need something to boost them up, to uplift them up for engagement. Make sure you're doing your breaks between your subjects. Don't push them too hard, because you're going to lose interest and they won't retain the content. Always constantly quiz them, have them repeat back of what you're introducing to them to make sure they're understanding the content that's being delivered. If they need further clarification, teach them how to use sticky notes to write down their questions and put them on flip chart. So when you get to a point after the lesson is over with, you can go over all their questions that they have. Projects, vision boards, doing arts and crafts, making sure they're learning stuff. Crocheting will be a good opportunity to teach them how to crochet, to learn how to make clothes, how to do gardening, to grow their own food, teaching them how to wash clothes, and teaching them washing clothes. You teaching them how to sort, that's counting. You got colors. And at the same time, they're helping you do house chores around the house at the same time while they're learning, to take the monotony away from the computer and the books all the time. Then the next thing is using the public library. They have online videos and movies that you can watch. And I used to do it when they got ready to do lunch. I used to do movie and lunchtime on their lunch break. So my favorite movie I always played as an educator was Facing the Giants. They have the YouTube clip on for the movie on Facing the Giants. It's a football movie, but it's very motivational and encouraging. So during lunchtime, when you take breaks, do a movie, something, to break up the routine and use it as a time for them to learn. For the subject of science, when I taught medical billing and coding, I used to use Grey's Anatomy, and we would watch Grey's Anatomy, and we would actually use that as a real life scenario lessons, where you found the diagnosis code, what's the problem, what's the complaint. You could do the same thing with your children, with science, with history on the National Geographic Channel, using something in addition to their coursework in the classroom to make learning fun and engaging. If you a Christian or faith-based believer, some biblical studies wouldn't hurt. One Sunday school lesson plan that I use when I taught Sunday school is sermonkids.org. It's very interactive and fun. You have coloring pages, crossword puzzles. They provide music. They have MP3 files for the music to play, where you could teach them how to sing, how to play it. Also, they have Bible study lessons, arts and crafts. So there's tons and tons of ways that you can help and be innovative while your child is at home. You want to equip them to be diverse, so as they grow and understand and get involved, because we want to make them to take on their civic responsibility to be able to help their community. So if they encounter this crisis, God forbid, in the future, they will know how to grow their food. They will know how to wash their clothes. They will know how to clean the house. Hey, Aunt Chantra. Yes, I am going back to roots. Yes, so those are things that you need to make sure that you're keeping your children informed. If they love playing video games, use the video games as a teaching tool. Be honest, don't look at it as just a game. Look at they learning strategy. It's almost like chess. For video games for our children, it's just like for some of us baby boomers and Gen X's, it's like the game of chess. It's teaching them strategy. So those are things that you have to that'll help build a generation in a gap. When you understand what they love and then look at how you grew up, how can you marry and merge the two? How can both of you all come together and say, okay, yes, this is what you're doing now, but look, this is what I did growing up. We didn't have cell phones back in the day. We didn't have social media. We had the rotary phone, you had the beeper, you had to use the yellow pages to look for the phone number. That was another activity I did with my high school students. They almost had a fit where I had them to look up phone numbers in the yellow pages. Be honest, a lot of people don't know how to do it. But if your cell phone go out, they don't have phone booths no more. You can go online and look up the yellow pages now as Yelp and the yellow pages, but back then it wasn't really on the website like that. Everything was paper. And if technology goes down and we press the internet so hard, it's going to knock all the technology out. So we got to be able to teach our children when all the technology is not functional, what is the plan B? The plan B is going back to your roots. The paper yellow pages, going to, if your cell phone not working, a lot of people don't have landline phones no more. I always keep a landline phone just in case, just in case the cell phone don't work, just in case it get disconnected or the cell tower functions are not operating. You have to have that backup plan in place and not wait for people to tell you. A lot of times some churches, used to do vacation Bible school, as another way of giving back and educating our youth on the Christian duties of how we supposed to live, how we supposed to treat people. That would be called today etiquette, and now with social distancing, we need to even push more social media etiquette, streaming etiquette on how you talk to people, engage with people online, how you do videos, how you provide value. So I just want to make sure that parents and guardians and educators are being more creative with this generation. Yes, we want them to have more better than us, more than us, but they also got to understand where we came from, what that was built upon. So you got to remember those tools. With this being said, with COVID-19, I'm working on putting together some online course, a mini series, some activities and things for the young people to do, to engage, to give parents and guardians and teachers a break for teaching. Because yes, we do need a break. You need to digress. That's why in school teachers do get a planning period. Parents do get 2 breaks and a lunch. So if you and your husband, everybody's working from home, then you need to come up with a schedule. Who's going to get up early and do breakfast? Who's going to and then once breakfast is done, who's going to get the kids up? Or before you get the kids up, the adults have that quality time first. Set the classroom up before you get your children up. But that means you're going to have to get up early. Set everything up. Also, I used to have learning stations. So use your living room, use your kitchen as different learning stations that your child can rotate to. Set it up by subject. One area is math. The other, I will probably do science in the kitchen. Science and math in the kitchen, because you can do a cooking class, you can do, different things that relates to that topic, where they not only just learning the content in the book and then based on the standards of the curriculum, but they also learning life skills. That's where your home economics come in. That's where you learning how to maintain a house. Even when you're trying to pay the bills, don't use the exact number or the exact bill, but use an example. In order for them to enjoy the luxuries, you have to pay rent, you have to pay utilities, them to drive in a car, they have to pay a car note, you have to pay insurance, you have to put gas in the car. These are the things that you have to be able to institute and roll into the curriculum that your classroom teachers are teaching. So that way, as they grow, they are becoming mature. And guess what they're going to do? They're going to educate their peers. Now, look, my mama taught me X, Y, and Z. My mama did this. My daddy showed me how to do that. So every parent has a role to contribute to the knowledge and expertise of their seed. This is your seed. So and they gonna implement what they see you do. So the more productive things and positive things you do, that is the behavior they're going to take back to the classroom to your teachers to make them good stewards, good citizens, to be productive individuals in society, not a menace and not to be increasing the crime rate. That's something we got to work together in the homes to reverse. Making sure you got prayer time, meditation time, and cooking more. If you cook more, then you have more money left over in the budget. Some of you are very creative with arts and craft, knowing how to sew. Teach your children how to sew. Even the boys, they need to learn how to do some of the home chores, because as they become an adult and they're looking for a wife, according to scripture, that said when the man finds a wife, he finds a good thing. He knows the roles, what the wife's supposed to do. Not making her his slave, but if she gets sick, according to the vows, in sickness and in health, he can still be able to run and maintain his household. Not inviting mama in, not inviting in-laws in to maintain their home. They will know how to maintain their home. Going grocery shopping, how much food costs. You give your children allowance, let them know, hey, this is how much money you got. This is how much you got to spend, but you don't need to spend it all in one place because you're not going to get any money anymore. That's your math. So the life skills that we do every day as adults, you need to roll it into what you're teaching, what they're learning in the classroom. So I just wanted to help you come on and just help all the parents that's homeschooling and the guardians that's homeschooling, the babysitters, the child care centers, the daycare centers, just to let you know some of the things that I use effective as a teacher. I have many students that I have taught. They still stay connected with me, and they will tell me, Ms. Gamma, I hated you as a teacher, but as they grew and got older, they understood why I was pushing them so hard like I was, trying to get these best practices instilled into them. They become productive citizens, to be ambidextrous. I even encourage entrepreneurship. If you have a child that's very creative and they want to make stuff, make products, they want to, provide services, support them. If there are resources, support them. Let them sell and do what they need to do. Start them a Shopify account, open them a bank account. That way, that helps you. That teach them how to build legacy. So you're planting the seed, they're actually growing it. And then as they get older, they can continue to reap the benefits that will water it. So encourage entrepreneurship. If you are an entrepreneur, help them learn about the business, teach them customer service skills, teach them administration, how to file papers, how to type on the computer. You do typing classes on the computer. There are websites that you can learn how to type for free. These are extracurricular courses and classwork that you can incorporate with the curriculum to keep them engaged. You can also make it competitive between all of you all. With the Wii, they can get the exercise in using the Wii, and the activities, going outside, running, walking, doing the things together as a family. This epidemic may be harsh on many, but I truly believe it's a time for the family to come together, to instill the roots, to build legacy, to learn, to get in the role of the teacher, that you send them off to school for 7 hours a day, that the teachers have to be the parent, they have to be the educator, they have to be the mentor, they have to be the mom, they have to be the dad. So now you get a taste of what educators go through with, because they're getting a mini version of you. So I just wanted to come on today, as I promised, to give you some of the tips as I use as an educator. Some of these tips I use in entrepreneurship. They just look different, but I just want to encourage you to make sure that you're using the daily routines around the house, using how you're paying bills, how you sustain this stuff. They need to see the struggles, not just the successes that you experience. So when they encounter struggles, they know how to pivot and handle them without panicking and stressing out. I also want to remind you all, tomorrow I am having a Startup Grind event on how to do business anywhere with Amazon. So those of you, if you want to do a virtual field trip for your students, That will be a great way to find webinars and events online and use it as a virtual field trip where they're learning. Make sure that they ask, take notes and listen very well, to ask questions, to post them in the comments so they can get the feedback necessary to execute their business on Amazon. So this is your host today, Therese W. Gamble. You've been in the Miss Gamble's classroom, where again, we make ideas happen. We have no excuses. Our goal is to shift you from dependency to independent, but yet we're all rolled up with the course curriculum that the state requires you to do to graduate, either the catch up, to graduate early, to launch a business, and life skills, home economics. You can learn all of that at home, being at home. So if you have any questions, need some more tips and strategies, want to do innovate and want to implement some of my ideas, even with the learning stations around your house, and have the signage up. There's the math station, there's the science station, there's the history station, this the English station. Use webinars at your virtual field trips where all of you guys are learning, and teachers and parents, that will give you a break and you get to learn too. So again, this is Miss. Thank you for visiting and joining Miss Gamble Classroom, and you all have an amazing day. I'll see you guys tomorrow at 12:30 Eastern Standard Time for how to do business anywhere with Amazon. Thank you so much.